The legendary knights are the human form of the dragons Timaeus, Critias, and Hermos, used by the three chosen duelists Yugi, Kaiba, and Joey throughout Waking the Dragons. These three knights were turned into dragons and frozen in ice during the battle for Atlantis against the Orichalcos, and are released by Yugi in the final showdown against Dartz. The legendary knights are of the few cards we have received from the Doma arc, but apart from largely serving as callbacks to the anime, they don't really function as a deck, so today we're gonna fix that. To quickly recap what's currently out there, we have Legend of Heart, which can bring out the three legendary knights who on summon can each banish a face-up spell or trap the opponent controls. They also each have an effect that triggers when they are attacked. Hermos can copy a monster effect in the grave, while Critias and Timaeus can set a trap or spell respectively from the grave. Three knights can combine into Timaeus the Knight of Destiny via Contact Fusion, which basically serves as a way to match the strongest monster on the board and kamikaze with it, but that'll then allow you to resummon your three legendary knights. On the legendary dragon side of things, we have the Eye of Timaeus, the Fang of Critias, and the Claw of Hermos. Each of these has a set of fusion monsters to their name, with Timaeus turning any Dark Magician monster into an appropriate fusion, Critias working with Mirror Force, Ring of Destruction, Crush Card, and Tyrant Wing to bring out monster versions of those cards, and Hermos leaning into the type of monster you use to bring out fusions based on spellcasters, warriors, or dragons. The general idea here is to create the Society of Atlantis. The supporting monsters, spells, and traps facilitate and boost the usage of your legendary dragon and legendary knight cards, allowing you to make use of the various fusions available. But there is a big goof with card design that needs to be taken into consideration, and that is that the Eye of Timaeus, as well as its monster form, are straight up Dark Magician support cards. It makes sense since this is how Yugi uses it, but didn't Konami know that one day some random guy on YouTube would want to combine all three dragons into one deck? In any case, working around that part was the challenge in designing a deck that combines the three dragons together. The other thing is that in this showcase, I will not be providing any new fusions. The reason for that is twofold. A, all the fusions used by Joey, Kaiba, and Yugi have already been released, so I would rather focus on those. And then B, I open this up to you. If you've got an idea for Timaeus, Critias, or Hermos-based fusion, throw it in the comments. Just be sure to consider the rules for each of the three. A, Timaeus fusions use a Dark Magician monster as material. B, Critias uses traps, preferably traps used by Yugi, Kaiba, and Joey, but feel free to use any trap in the game. And then C, Hermos fusions are equipped to a monster on the field on summon. With that said, let's dive into the Atlantis deck. The monster lineup consists of 4 Atlantis monsters, starting with Sorcerer, who on normal summon searches out Legend of Heart or a spell trap that mentions it. Also, once per turn, you can reveal one fusion in your extra deck that mentions a legendary dragon spell, so Timaeus, Critias, and Hermos. Send one card the fusion monster mentions or one Atlantis monster from your deck to the grave, and if you do, this card's name becomes that sent card's name, and if it is a monster, it takes on its type. So this is going to be one of the 3 ways that the deck allows you to leverage the legendary dragon spells with more consistency. Next is the Child, who has an in-hand effect and grave effect. In hand, you can target one Atlantis monster in your grave, discard him, then add that target to your hand. Grave, if you special summon a fusion monster that mentions a legendary dragon card from your extra deck, you can banish this card from your grave to draw cards equal to the number of legendary dragon spells with different names in your grave. So that'll either be 1, 2, or 3. Next is the Protector. If you control a legendary knight monster or a fusion that mentions a legendary dragon card, you can special summon this guy from your hand or grave. Card once per turn on that effect. And if a legendary knight monster or a fusion that mentions a legendary dragon card would be destroyed, you can destroy him instead because he protects. And the final Atlantis monster is the Dragon. His first effect allows you to target one legendary dragon spell in your grave, send one legendary knight monster from deck to grave, then add that target to your hand. And then like the Child, he has a grave effect where if you summon a fusion monster that mentions a legendary dragon card from your extra deck, you can banish this card from your grave, then target one card your opponent controls for every legendary dragon spell in your grave with a different name and destroy those targets. So again, that'll be 1, 2, or 3. The first spell is a field spell, Realm of the Frozen Dragons. This card protects your Legend of Heart and legendary dragon spells from being negated, and grants your fusion monsters that mention a legendary dragon card protection from targeting by your opponent. And this is the second card that has an effect of making your legendary dragon spells more accessible, because you can send one legendary dragon card from your hand or field to the grave, tribute one Atlantis monster, then special summon one fusion from your extra deck that mentions the sent legendary dragon card, ignoring its summoning conditions. So it basically lets you trade in any of your legendary dragon spells and an Atlantis monster to summon the appropriate fusion related to the spell you sent, including Timaeus, who is otherwise gate-kept behind the Dark Magicians. The other spell works in a different way to accomplish the same goal, that is Release the Sword. It can only be equipped to an Atlantis monster. During the main phase, you can reveal one fusion in your extra deck that mentions a legendary dragon card. Send one card from your hand to the grave, then add one Legend of Heart or legendary dragon spell from deck to hand. And if you do, you can apply one of the following effects. Either change the equipped monster's name to a card name mentioned on the revealed fusion monster, so this will let you access Timaeus and Critias, or change the equipped monster's type to the type of the revealed monster, letting you access Hermos. The one trap is Dragon's Awakening, so named because there already exists a card called Waking the Dragon. Send one Legend of Heart or legendary dragon spell from hand or deck to grave, and tribute one Atlantis monster from your hand or field, then special summon one legendary knight monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this is the card that will let you access your legendary knights outside of Legend of Heart. During the end phase though, you send the summoned monster to the grave, then add one Legend of Heart or legendary dragon spell from your grave to hand. So essentially working as a delayed search of whichever legendary dragon spell you want. Alright, time for some combos, and like I mentioned, the intention with this custom support is to streamline your usage of all three of the legendary dragon spells so you can run all of them in one deck and be able to bring out the fusions with relative ease. And so there's three ways that the deck does that, and the first two I'm going to show right here, one of which is Sorcerer of Atlantis. On normal summon, you can grab Legend of Heart or a spell trap that mentions it from deck. Just grab Release the Sword. Sorcerer also has another effect where we can reveal one of the fusion monsters that mentions a legendary dragon spell. Let's reveal Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. And then it allows us to send one card it mentions, so in this case that would be the Claw of Hermos, or one Atlantis monster from our deck to the grave. I'm going to send an Atlantis monster. And the rest of the effect is that it's going to take on the type of the revealed monster, in this case Dragon, and then take on the send card's original name, so in this case Dragon of Atlantis. So at this point, if I wanted to, and I had, say, Claw of Hermos, I could go into Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. But I'm going to go a step further and show the second way that the deck can use the legendary dragon spells more easily, and that is Release the Sword. Release the Sword can be equipped to an Atlantis monster. During the main phase, similar to Sorcerer of Atlantis, you can reveal a fusion monster in your extra deck that mentions a legendary dragon spell. In this case, we'll reveal Doomvirus Dragon. Send one card from your hand to the grave, so we'll pitch the Child of Atlantis. Then add one Legend of Heart or one legendary dragon spell from deck to hand. We will grab the Fang of Critias. So the rest of the Release of Swords effect is that we can apply one of the following. Either change the equipped monster's name to a card name that the revealed monster mentions, or change the equipped monster's type to the type of the revealed monster. So we revealed Doomvirus Dragon, which means we can either change it to a dragon type, we can change our sorcerer to a dragon type, it technically already is at this point in time, or we can change its name to a card that is mentioned on this. So in this case, either the Fang of Critias or Crush Card Virus. We of course are going to change the name to Crush Card Virus, and this here is the second way you can leverage the legendary dragon spells without necessarily having to have the exact requirement. Use Fang of Critias, since this is being called Crush Card Virus, we can bring out Doomvirus Dragon. And the Fang of Critias monsters are kind of bonkers compared to the other ones. Doomvirus Dragon in this case allows you to relive the glory days of pre-errata Crush Card Virus by giving a peek at your opponent's hand and their next three draws and destroying all monsters with 1500 or more attack. On top of that, we have a couple of graveyard effects that will trigger anytime we bring out a legendary dragon monster, a fusion monster. In this case, we have Child of Atlantis and Dragon of Atlantis both in our grave. So Dragon of Atlantis, by banishing it when we special summon one of those legendary dragon fusions, we can destroy cards our opponent controls up to the number of legendary dragon spells with different names in our graves. In this case, 1. Child of Atlantis counts the same way, looking at the legendary dragon spells in our grave with different names, and allows us to draw cards. So again, in this case, 1. Alright, so show 2 of the ways by using Sorcerer of Atlantis or Release the Sword. You can combine them with any of the legendary dragon spells to bring out one of the relevant fusions. I'm going to show the third way now, the Realm of the Frozen Dragon's Field spell, which allows us to send a legendary dragon spell from our hand or field to the grave. Then tribute an Atlantis monster. Then special summon one fusion monster that is mentioned on the sent card. So in this case, it'll be one of the ones that mentions Timaeus. We'll bring out Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. Then we can continue to combo with Protector of Atlantis, who can be special summoned if we control a legendary knight monster or a fusion monster that mentions a legendary dragon spell. And that'll help us keep our fusion monster on board by protecting it from being destroyed. It would destroy itself instead. And so those are some of the ways this custom support allows you to bring out these legendary dragon fusions. So that does it for the Legendary Knight custom support. Hope you enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe for next week as we jump from dragons to fairy tales.